I actually can't see it. Oh, there we go. There's a little live thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we're live now. That's brilliant.
Probably
Yeah.
good.
Unusually, I'll say hi to everybody and thank you everybody to come and join this particular weird and wonderful live stream. But it's not about me anymore. It's about Rob because he's the one who's going to be asking all sorts of weird and wonderful questions.
Absolutely.
And normally the etiquette, Rob, is that people who come in on kind of ask me what I'm going to ask them, and normally I give them a little bit of a script, and they've got a bunch of questions. Whereas I'm going in completely blind and completely cold. I know you're unpredictable, so we'll see how it all pans out.
Indeed.
So anyway, I'll shut up now and over to Rob.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much for coming on. And I know it's a bit of a strange role reversal sort of thing. Obviously, Michael's always the one doing the interviews in the sheds. You know, he's got some celebrities, let's say, of the droid building universe on in past ones, and I felt it was pretty much about time that somebody actually did an interview with Michael himself. So, yeah, how are you? It feels like only an hour ago I saw you.
It was. We were together at the UK Northern meet with lots of other droids. So yeah.
Indeed, we were. And you had with you then, you brought the two versions of D-O and BD1, was it? BT? I keep getting them mixed up.
Yeah, BD1. Craig had BT1. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. BT1's the big monster droid, isn't he? Yeah. Kind of the exact opposites of each other. But
yeah, one's small, the other one's big.
So it was great seeing all the work that you've done on the V2 D-O as well. Obviously, you let me have a little go of D-O as well. He's actually a lot more entertaining and a lot more fun to use when you're actually like up close, of like seeing videos and everything. So that was super fun. So yeah, I've got quite a few questions for you.
Okay,
no doubt you go through the list from people. So question number one that I think a lot of people were wanting answered was, why did you join the R2 Builders Club?
Yeah, I mean, so the background was that I'd sort of inherited an old 3D printer replicator. I printed out as much fun small plastic things about this big from Thingiverse that I could do to entertain myself. I wanted to print some bigger stuff, and there's a guy called Jeff Rowe who's got Hex 3D, who'd done some multi-part Stormtrooper helmets, quite big ones. Yeah. So I printed those out, and I suddenly got the bug of printing out really big things. Now at that time, you had really small printers printing out big things, so lots and lots and lots of parts. And then it was about the time when Force Awakens came out, and it was really, really right at the beginning of the BB-8 Builders Club. So suddenly, I was looking for something to print. I was trying to find files beyond that, and the BB-8 came out. So I printed BB-8, full scale BB-8, and I thought, by God, it's big. Everything that you print out is bigger than what you see on the screen. A bloody massive thing. And then I kind of needed to put lights in it, and that's where I discovered a little bit about Arduino, literally to turn LEDs on and off. This was just so exciting. And then I felt a bit of a fraud and thought, what I want to do is design something that I can print rather than printing other people's files, because I'd run out of big things to print.
Yeah.
And I was looking for something to print, and I thought R2D2's dome. You know, how hard can it be? It's a ball cut in half, very, very easy. So I thought, to learn CAD, and literally the dome was the first thing that I'd ever designed, and I just learned CAD through designing the dome. I think it was Mark Duino at the time, blueprint, and it was literally Googling R2D2 dome blueprint, grabbed this blueprint, designed the dome, printed the dome, and as I was designing and printing it, I threw it up onto Thingiverse. Now at this stage, I didn't even know that such a group existed as the R2D2 Builders Club.
Yeah.
And that was my, I guess that was my awakening, as they say, which is threw the R2D2's dome up on Thingiverse, carried on printing it, and then Thingiverse sort of exploded with people saying, "Oh my God, you've done R2D2's dome," because at that stage you could fabricate most things, but the one thing that was always a bit of a challenge was the dome, because it was a ball. You could order them, you could do imports from, part runs and all of that kind of good stuff, but you couldn't fabricate it. And suddenly I'd created this. So that was my introduction to the Builders Club. Very closely followed by Corrections, which is, it's really good. However, this is out by 3mm. This doesn't quite match. This angle's out. Blah 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 blah. Because I've Googled it. I'm not. And you need to look at Astromech. So I was, oh my God, this is really weird. And then Facebook. At that time, I was literally sort of running on Facebook. We got a few Facebook. I joined the R2D2 Builders Club on Facebook first. I joined Astromech. The first person I spoke to from the Builders Club was Oliver Steeples, really. And as these people were coming in, I was Googling Oliver Steeples. Obviously, made the R2 for the Force Awakens. Oh my God, he's a celebrity. He knows what to do. And then Oliver kind of taught me through it. And then from that, I sort of slowly got introduced into this bunch of enthusiastic lunatics that print robots of 51-year-old men like me who make replica robots. But it was completely random and stumbling around. I'd like to say there was a big plan behind it, but there was nothing really.
So, by the sounds of that, when you came in, you were pretty much just throwing everything out there. Obviously, it sounds like you didn't come in knowing exactly what you were doing. You're learning as you went along. What was some of the most difficult things about that V1 R2 unit that you found? Anything where you could literally spend months trying to figure out, or any almost impossible parts that you found?
Oh God, yeah. I started from the BB-8. I then wanted an R2 dome, so I did the R2 dome pretty much to the Arduino blueprints at the time, and I started to look on YouTube as well around 3D printers. Stumbled across James Bruton, who is an absolute legend.
Yes.
And James had printed the R6 out, which was mind-blowing to me. It's kind of, this guy in his garage had created a fully animated R6 with all sorts of things that were kind of going on. And I needed something to sit my dome on top of so that it would do something. And James at that point had shared a lot of his step files, which are the kind of source files that, and I was working on 123D design at that time. So I grabbed a load of James's stuff. I'd been introduced to Astromech. I looked at Astromech, got all the blueprints on Astromech, and I was meshing the two together. Now, what James does is he does what fits his electronics on and what fits his animation on. So he doesn't do movie accurate stuff.
Yeah.
So I got these two worlds of movie accurate stuff and James, and I was mashing them together, and that's where V1 came from, which was literally, I'll take James, I'll squash it a little bit, I'll extend it a little bit. That's about the right size. I'll print the skins out, and so that's where the V1 came from. But what James did was he replicated a traditional way of building R2 with V1, which was what we know as a center frame, or whatever you want to call it, the kind of frames plus segments. And I started along this path as an enthusiastic amateur, got everything to a point where I created the first mechanism. The first mechanism that I attempted was the 2 to 3 to 2.
Mm-hmm.
So before I'd even got the dome spin, I thought, that leg has to come in, and then the arms go. How hard could that be? So this is the enthusiastic amateur in me, and I actually got it working. I stuck it on YouTube years ago. If you ever want to have a look at it. So we built James's V1 frame. I put some mechanism. I'd fixed some things that he'd had problems with. Learned a load of Arduino stuff, and then I realised there was massive kind of design flaws with doing James's build. Not what James did, but when you start to want to put skins on it and things like that. Yeah. painted myself into a corner. And while I'm doing all this, I'm throwing things on Thingiverse for people to. Thingiverse is Universe, by the way, for people to print, and then realise that actually there's a bunch of people that want to print these things, and all I was doing was throwing tiny blips of plastic about this big, and people trying to work out how they all go together. So yeah, it was James Bruton and V1. The limitations on V1 was that it was trying to replicate traditional builds. It hadn't fully encompassed or harnessed or cuddled what you can do with 3D printing.
Yeah. So with everything that you do 3D modeling wise, you're somewhat of a god in the building community. I think many people would agree with. Do you do 3D modeling stuff like for a living? Because the stuff that we see, especially from my point of view, it does seem like you've been doing it for a long time. You know exactly what you do, and you're highly advanced in the things that you make. So do you do 3D modeling stuff as a job, or is it literally just in your spare time?
No, it is literally just in my spare time.
Wow.
I've got a weird background. I did. I left school to be a butcher. It's a family business, so yeah. If you want me to disassemble an animal into its component parts, I can do that. Not too good at putting it back together again. And then from that, I ended up going into electromechanical engineering. I was actually a fax engineer and photocopier engineer, which is kind of that gave me a really solid foundation in servos, basic electronics, basic electrical stuff. You know, time you've had 5 or 6 shocks and you've realised what mains voltage is, you kind of know most of what you need to know around electrics, and fuses and all of that kind of stuff. I was very fortunate at the time that when printing and photocopiers and all that kind of stuff moved into digital revolution, you've got computers and so I got involved in IT and programming. So whilst I say my background isn't in CAD and design, it's in a really solid electromechanical kind of background. I don't do that now. I do sort of officey stuff at the moment. But I am always drawn to the component side of things and how you build things and how you make things and how things work. That's really sort of fascinates me.
Yeah. So, sorry, go on.
I was just reading the comments. It said that you must be the baby of the group, Rob.
I think I am, although I do think that there was a young child who was at the meet today wearing a club shirt that I hope is younger than me.
Yeah, fraction.
So I'm gonna go straight out and say that person's the youngest of the group. But by the sounds of it, I am certainly younger than nearly every single one of you. So.
Oh, good comment. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So obviously you do lots of 3D printing stuff. That's a given. Do you have any plans to do a non-3D printed droid in the future?
Oh my God, heretic. So really, it's a brilliant question that Rob, I've got to say. But
I do try.
So I'm torn now. I was very much on Arduino and Bluetooth, and I've just started to play around with RC, which I never thought I would do. I have been looking at frames and thought, I can kind of see where they're going. I doubt it. I think if somebody gave me a COM8 frame and some skins and whatever, I could very easily start to go down the garden path on that. But and it's not so much that I wouldn't want to. It's more around optimizing the time that I've got, which is I want to, there's about a million one things that I want to design. So I'd love to build a traditional one. They are the droids. I mean, my view is you've got a choice. I think Ali and the traditional builds have really got a place, and they are engineering that it's the difference between buying, your kind of cars that will last for 50 years and the cars that will last for 3 years. Your Ali stuff is phenomenal. What I'm trying to do is give people a more accessible and cheaper option. but the appeal of owning a piece of engineering.
Yeah.
We saw it today. There was a guy that was doing some Wally
Yes.
parts where you may have seen it. Each piece was machined, and that has a massive appeal to somebody who's mechanical.
Yeah.
But most of my stuff is 3D printed plastic, and everything that's going through my mind is how can I do that in plastic? Not, you give me a metal printer or a lathe that's affordable, then I'd be there with knobs on. But at the moment, the technology probably isn't there for me to do it in the jet and to do it cheap enough. So yeah, don't know if that answers the question, but that's my thought. Good question though.
I'd probably take that as right now, no, but possibly in the future. That's how I might take that.
Yeah. Watch his face. I'd be quite interested in doing that.
Indeed. So one thing that this is just a question from me, is given that all of the things that you make, both droid related, even just little bits and bobs that you make and stick up online and everything, why Star Wars? Why not Terminator or Wally or anything like that? What drew you to Star Wars?
Again, good question.
I have these, and people always seem surprised when I have good questions and ideas.
Yeah, why Star Wars? I think. Well, I mean, firstly, massive fan. Star Wars came in '77. That's a long time ago, Rob. It's when they wore flares and had long hair and beards, a bit like you actually.
Long before my time.
No, but Star Wars hit when I was 8 or 9, and I was a kid. I had a lot of interest in film actually at the time. I was kind of a bit more on the geeky side, but I liked science and astronomy and all sorts of crap. And then Star Wars came along. And the reason I went to see it was peer pressure. I was at school and kids were going, like, you need to watch it. I watched it. It was just fantastic escapism, which you can only capture when you're 8 or 9. I can't escape now as a 50-year-old bloke in a film, because I'll watch it and then I'll analyze it, I'll take it to pieces and all that crap. At that time, it just grabbed you and it hooked you. And then it was between 8 to 15, which, Star Wars, Empire, Jedi, whatever. At that point, you're a fan. And it's just, when you watch my kids went through Harry Potter, exactly the same thing. It just hits at the right time with the right bit of magic. And so when it came to making stuff, that span out to like adult me as being there was two paths. There was a Star Wars path that started it all. Now, what the other part that I kind of went down was, and it was Peter Cushing in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because I was interested in Star Wars. Peter Cushing, I leapt into horror films and Hammer and stuff like that. So when I was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, I got quite heavily into sculpting and foam latex and prosthetics and all of the practical effects. Fascinated. So I could have gone down the horror route and I could have gone down the Star Wars route. But Star Wars, I think, started it all, which is pretty much why I chose the R2 one.
Yeah.
I've got to say at the point when I started to do a lot of this, I was a really interested Star Wars fan, but I wasn't a super fan. I've met a lot of guys that are bigger fans of me, and I think I probably pretend and fake it a little bit. But at that point, I wasn't. Now it's kind of starting to gather legs a little bit. But yeah, it was a thing that I think that interests me in film. It got me interested in practical effects, and it sparked a whole bunch of stuff in building things and whatever. So that's pretty much why go right back to Star Wars.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So when you were modelling the droids, either from, I know when you said you were doing the first version of R2, you were pretty much just going off the plans and eyeballing things and whatnot. As you've obviously refined the droids, have you had much guidance from other builders in terms of they've printed out version 1, said this looks like it's a bit too short or not the right shape, all that, and then obviously you've taken those and refined them, or has it literally been everything from your own thing?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, CAD and the design process is a means to an end with
Yeah.
me. So what it does is it creates parts that I put together, and I wouldn't say, if you cut my head off and look through it like a stick of rock, I've got CAD all the way through. I haven't. What I've got is building. So what happens is I design things because I've got a really good sense of mechanics and how things fit together and how things to work, and I can very easily translate them into mental images to create the CAD and to create the designs. However, when I print them out, I'll go, they're really crap, or oh my god, that's awful to assemble.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this as a design. So you design, you print, and then all in the background you're building. And as you're building, you're realizing the limitations. And then what I've got to do then is circle back and refine. And that goes right down to, can you print this damn thing without support? So my view is supports is a failure.
Yeah.
It sounds, it sounds horrible. I know a lot of guys that use supports, but if I have to add supports, it's with a real heavy heart, and it's like, oh God, sorry guys, you've got to put supports on this one. And that's part of the design process, and how it all stacks up from a physics perspective. And then when you assemble it, you realise then that there's gaps or there's holes or there's bits that don't fit. I've captured most of that, and by that time I'm then designing the second or third revision on it.
Yeah.
Now, so most of the stuff that the whole community get to print is the stuff that I've already played with, and been my own worst critic and beat myself up over and improved, and so it is pretty good.
Yeah.
What I do get from other builders is just I guess literally snippets. I'm not a detailed person, so I'll give you an example. Matt Denton was doing has done DOV1 and he's done the remix. He's done an absolutely amazing job. I've watched his videos, not in incredible detail, but just kind of skimming over them and just enjoying them for YouTube videos as they are. And he'll throw a couple of different views on where you've got weak points or whatever, and I'll just grab on them and go, actually, he's moved to DC motors. Let me play around with DC motors. So I'll take more concepts from other people and tweak them. On the direct models, if somebody drops me a line and says, I'm struggling with this piece, it hits here because I'm like, oh my God, I've screwed up. There's a lot of people who are printing this. And so the feedback I get from builders and then trying to work out, because what you've got to do is work out whether they're not quite getting how it goes together, whether they just need help and support on how to fix it, or whether they've genuinely found something that I've missed. I've got to kind of get that. And then if it is something that needs design and revisions, then I'll push that in. But they come from two bits. One is filtering out and working out what is truly challenges in the way the designs. But generally on those, I know that there's an issue already. I've tried assembling it like DO version 1. It works, it runs, but there's a lot wrong with that in how the mechanism works, which I've overcome, and it works. But I know that I don't think that's I don't think it's necessarily needed to get to that stage.
Mm-hmm.
So all that feedback I've incorporated, but the other one then is just inspiration and watching how people do things, but they're more concepts, like play with DC motors, the way that BD1's head kind of does all of the 360 move. There's loads of little things that you just grab. I think you did the same actually on the T3 builders, where my BD1 that was head spinning around and that. Oh, how's he do that? Yeah, that's good. That's cool. I can do that. It doesn't mean what you're doing is grabbing the design. It means you're taking inspiration what others do.
Yeah, exactly. I think the one for the T3 is somewhat similar, but I don't think that the overall layout of the neck mech for the T3 one would have been suitable by using the one that you use for BD anyway. But we've got Doug working on that, so he's sweating himself over that one, so we just leave him to it. So a couple of questions just as like a spitball sort of round. Future droids, can you just reel off a list of droids that you would love to do in the future?
I can. I think it'd be the populist ones. Chopper is the one that is really. Let me reverse that a little bit, Rob, because let me go for the criteria by which I would select it. Okay.
Go on then. Go for it.
So the first criteria is if it's interested, and by interested I mean it's there's niche droids. There's kind of ones that just occupy two seconds screen time, but they don't excite people. And that's not because I want to do things that are popular for everybody else. It's because actually I find it interesting. So Chopper is the god of the niche droids. He's there. Everybody loves him. He's got an amazing personality, and how do you incorporate it? So that's the first criteria. The second one then is, has it been done to the point where I would be happy to build it myself? Mm-hmm. And that's a really important one. Now, I would say BB-8 is getting there. And so if I look at BB-8, go, right, has it been done to the point where it's accurate? Yes, it is. Have other people done a job of it where it's as good as what I could do? Yes, they probably have. There's massive subtlety and complexity around the drive system, but pretty much they've kind of nailed it. With Chopper, it's popular. There's massive gaps in the actual whole build files, so you can get every component. You've got to somehow fix them together. Yeah. And then has it been done as accurately as it can be? Is it and that's where I kind of get excited. So if it's very, very popular, if it's not been done to the best it can be, and if there's gaps where I can improve on the accuracy, those are my three criteria. Now, Chopper ticks all those boxes. Now, I've had a look at it. You ignore it's horrible. The stuff that we've got currently, I look at it and understand it, but I almost ignore it because all I want to do is go back to the source material, which is the stuff that's in the in Rebels, and then from that, can I glean enough information and data to do the most accurate possible droid that it can do?
Yeah.
And that's so when you look at the list, Chopper's definitely on there. Dio, I think I'm getting with version 2. That is most exciting droid that we've done so far. I love it, and I want to. There's a few tweaks I want to do, but I think we're almost getting to a definitive model, along with the software and control system where I can hold my hand up and say this is phenomenal. So I think Dio with there. I will probably revisit BD1 at some point, just because it's such a cute droid. It's such. After that, do you know what? I'm probably circling back to some of the R2 ones. I've got the track droid which I need to complete, and actually I love. It's a really nice build. I'm also quite interested in doing some custom stuff, so doing kind of variations on BD1. But we're in an interesting time now because you've got the Skywalker trilogy that's come to a conclusion, but what we're on the cusp of is a shitload of Disney Plus things, which potentially we've got the Mandalorian. There's nothing on the Mandalorian that I've gone, oh my god, I need to build that. There's that weird sideshow R2 unit with a funny bendy head, which at some point I'd like to go back and do the dome on that one. There's the abomination that is the four-legged R2D2 thing that spoilers.
Yeah, R2 on steroids. Yeah, so
R2 on steroids. I'm not. It's okay. Not a fan. IG-88, pretty cool. That bit. But again, I'm not interested in doing statics. I'm interested in doing animation. So to do that justice would take some time.
Yeah.
So I think when I'll probably fill my time up with the track droid, a lot of circling back and fixing stuff. I've got some stuff that I still want to do on R2, and then see what comes out of Disney Plus. I'm sure that the Obi-Wan series and whatever will bring some cool things to play with. So.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. I'm really looking forward to that one. So you said going round on some customs. You actually almost answered my next question. Are we going to get a Michael Baddeley original astromech?
Yeah, that's a bit like saying, can we interview Michael Baddeley? Michael Baddeley doesn't feel particularly that he's got much to contribute from a personal perspective. What he wants to do is provide a service for everybody else. So we do things for the people to build. I need to convince him that there's interest in doing custom things, but probably I'd love to do it. If you look at what's interesting with DO is the basic mech of DO, which is the wheels and the balancing unit, is quite cool, and the size of it's quite cool as well. And there was some concept drawings for BB-8 where they've got a ball axle through the middle, and then they've got a headpiece that moves across the two axles, yes, with a bit more of a kind of a tread on there, which would lead itself fantastically to DO. So now I've cracked the DO balancing mech. What would be really the custom ones would be to play around with that. The other thing that I think I spoke to you about before, Rob, was around doing something that is actually a walking droid, proper walking droid. Yes. So, you know, in a slow and considered way. Those are the two that I'd like to do. But, you know, again, going back to my criteria is that, you know, is it exciting and popular? Is it been done before? You know, droids, according to me, is not exciting and popular unless everybody goes, yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. You know, so that said, I've got projects that kind of sit outside of what I share on the group, which I could just tickle along one day and then just drop out an interesting new rolling droid and sort of test the water.
Absolutely.
I'd love to do one.
I'm sure I speak for a lot of people when everyone loves everything that you do in that group, you know. So I'm pretty sure if you went and dropped something original in that group, something that you like just for the sake of you liking it, I'm pretty sure everyone would love it as well. So I think
the one other thing that I've been playing with in the background, and again I'm probably sharing too, but is the 39.1% track droids. They are amazing. They're phenomenal. Yeah. Small, they're easy, they're quick, all that kind of stuff. I want to do an armored all-terrain track droid. So it's 39.1%, but this thing can drive through other track droids like on steroids. You know, it's got muscle wheels. It's got. I'm not doing tracks because tracks I think are prone to people sabotaging them, as Tim I think does on a number of occasions. I'm going for like 4 wheels either side, and this thing is unstoppable with armored side and then a lightweight top, so you can't knock it over. I'd love to do something that's on the 39.1% as well. That's another one that I'm kind of playing around on doing something a little bit more unique. I think on the 39.1%, I'm not bothered what the scale is, but the smaller scale droids, I think you could have a serious movement where people are just playing around. It's great for kids to play with and all that kind of stuff because it's small enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was actually having this discussion with someone before I left earlier on about doing something similar to a 39.1, but the T3 version. So literally just an army of mini but working T3 droids as soon as we sort the files out, which it'll be super fun because, again, like you said, it's something fun for the kids to do. That way they don't have to worry about getting full-size droids driving around and possibly crashing them, but it's something fun for them to do, and you can get more on the tracks and on all the courses and everything, so that's something cool. How are we doing for time, by the way?
Yeah, we're doing okay. We've probably got 20 minutes or so
spot on. No worries. I've just got a whole list of questions, so I was just double checking.
Yeah, they're all cool questions, Rob, so crack on.
Spot on. So would you it sort of doubles back to one of the questions we asked earlier about like outside of Star Wars sort of thing, but if you could literally just pause everything in the Star Wars groups that you're doing now and all the Star Wars stuff that you're doing, if you could just pause them and jump straight onto work on any other droid at all, what would it be?
That's again another interesting one. I love Black Hole. So all of the little droids in Black Hole and Maximilian and those kind of stuff, they're quite cool. But again, there's other people that have done them. What else? It's so easy to be drawn to the likes of Wally and Johnny Five and those kind of stuff. They've already been done. So, what else? What other droids would you like to do? The other one that I wouldn't mind doing is the interrogator droid as a drone.
Yes.
That'd
be cool.
Yeah, and that's the LWPLA stuff, the lightweight. I know it's Star Wars, but the lightweight PLA stuff with the sort of four engines either side, so it can hover around and float around. Because I guess what the bit that interests me is doing something different, as in, BD1 was just an animatronics piece that I'd heard the DO was a single rolling wheel. R2 was R2. He's finding different ways of mechanizing them, and I think the interrogator droid has not been done justice properly. As a flying one, the what's the training thing called that you do with lightsabers? What's that one? The drones.
I think it's just called. Isn't it just called a training droid?
Yeah, this is where Rob's too young. It says on there. Yeah, I get that. No, yeah, it is that training droid one again as a flying one. So that'd be quite interesting to do. I do like the animatronics ones as well. Outside of Star Wars, your mind goes to stuff like Terminator, but they've already been done. I like some of the classic stuff. That's why I kind of go back to Black Hole. The other one was Small Soldiers. I don't even remember Small Soldiers.
Yes, I love that film.
Yeah, and that goes. When I said to you before, interest was in foam latex and sculpting. The ability to create more animatronics around Small Soldiers would be pretty cool as well.
Yeah. Do you know? I'd actually love to see if you did some Small Soldiers stuff and released those and got them all moving and talking to each other. That'd be pretty awesome. I'd love that.
I do fancy doing the other. I'm doing something at the moment which is around Halloween. I've got Halloween as in scary stuff. But what I want to try and do is so you imagine a face like that.
Yeah.
So you've got eyes, you've got eyebrows, and you're just above the mouth. That bit you can print.
Yeah.
And then what I want to try and do is do animatronic eyes and sound effects.
Yes.
And I just think if it's a flat piece that you can put anywhere. So on top of your wardrobe you can pop it, right? So imagine Pennywise. You pop this animatronic piece on top of the wardrobe, and all that happens is the eyes move back and forth, and it might say "Hello, Georgie" or whatever it does on Pennywise. And you could do the same with Jason. I think just a simple little animatronic eyes with a sound, and then all you do is put different skins. I think you could put that in letterboxes. You could put it underneath in gutters. You could do it anywhere. It'd just be so much fun. Scare the living out of people, but
I think you and Mr. Prentice need to team up on that one and make a public haunted house.
Yeah, that tricycle he did. I know he did it with the saw. I'd have took the saw puppet off, and I'd just had a kid's tricycle riding about. That is way much scarier than having having anything that's sat on top of it.
Indeed. A Marksman H combat remote, according to Tony, is what that droid's
Okay.
called.
Yeah.
There we go. Thanks.
Brilliant. Well done, Tony.
Thanks, Tony. And drone racing. Yes, JD, drone racing would be a fantastic addition, although I think there might have to be some modifications to the course to incorporate.
Yeah. The first-person drone racing is amazing. When you put their heads on and the goggles on, and you fly the damn thing around.
Yeah, well, there's quite a few people, including JD, who do things like virtual reality. So yeah, we'll do that. Get some drones sorted out. Get some cameras and some VR stuff, and
Yeah.
VR drone racing is the next way to go. That's going to be the next meet, I think.
Big thing. Okay,
Fantastic.
can do that. This is
For
probably the
me,
most surreal interview that we've done, but carry on.
favorite non-droid characters out of all the films, all the Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's Salacious Crumb is one of my. I love Salacious Crumb. Who else have we got? I'm more on the first three trilogies. Love all the bounty hunters. You can't have a favourite in Star Wars because just everything's kind of done to death. I'm a massive fan of Rey. I love the Rey character. I think the new trilogies have got, everybody's got a love or hate relationship with them, and everybody's pulled things apart. But Rey as a character, I think, has been has got off fairly lightly because it is actually quite an interesting character. Darth Maul's another one.
Yeah.
Underrated. Well, I'm not a fan of trilogies, but I think again that's timing. That's the age that I was when they came out. But apart from everything else on the prequels, I think Darth Maul really sort of captured it. But I'm a big fan of rubber monsters. I love Salacious Crumb. I love Jabba the Hutt. I love all of Yoda is, and that's an easy one to say. Baby Yoda. And I know it's been done to death, but the animatronics in that, with it being a practical effect, is and a piece of art. It is beautiful. The people that did that just did an absolutely amazing job. Not by the character, but just the way that they pulled that together to make it look so realistic.
I completely agree with that one. It's fantastic, and if anyone's debating whether to watch The Mandalorian, watch it straight off. Just go watch every single episode when you can.
Amazing. Yeah, I agree.
Fantastic. So a question from somebody in the group when I posted the thing. What sort of things do you like to do when you're not designing droids? my response to that was that I believe you will be thinking of designing droids when you're not actually designing them, but I could be wrong.
What do I like to do when I'm not designing droids? I do spend a lot of time. It makes you realise how much time we spend designing droids. I've got a lovely family. I've been a cat person for years, so we've always had cats. And then just recently, when the kids kind of moved out, we got a dog, we got a pug, and my pug is called Darcy. And it was an unexpected one. We got a pug because it was cute, and then suddenly it just hits you. It's just like, oh my God, everything this dog does is phenomenal. So yeah, family and dogs, which is sort of pretty boring. I normally get asked the other way, which is when you go into work stuff. They go, what do you do outside of work? I build droids. Go, wow, that's cool and exciting. But in the droid building stuff, then to say what I do outside of it is a little bit more difficult. Lots of practical stuff, so enjoy building. I've got a house that's falling to pieces, and I keep putting bits on, and then you have to rebuild it. So the DIY stuff. Droid building is just an excuse to buy tools. I've got multi-tool. I've always wanted a reason to buy a multi-tool, and you can now sand droids with it, which is fantastic. But you can also cook things. So yeah, DIY is a big piece of it. But and then just general sort of family and friends stuff. I like watching movies. Don't listen to a lot of music. Audiobooks quite like. It's pretty boring, really. Building droids is the most exciting thing we do. Got a weird bunch of enthusiastic lunatics on Facebook.
Sometimes it's nice just to see what people do outside of that main thing that people always see, because obviously everyone sees you in the group, and some people I think they were actually quite interested in what you do outside of the group, if anything. So I reckon it's probably going to open a whole new world.
Yeah, I enjoy food. I enjoy cooking. butchering background makes you like food even better. When the weather gets better, you eat outside. And pizza making! I am obsessed by making pizzas. I've been making pizzas for 15 years, and I'm on a holy grail of trying to make the best pizza with pizza ovens and all that kind of stuff. That's quite a foodie thing. I quite like food.
Well, that's something we have in common because I like to eat pizzas, and I probably have been eating pizzas for the past 15 years. I'm just trying to work out my age there. Yeah, 15 years is right.
Yeah, you need to have really good pizzas. I can make really good pizzas.
Yeah, we'll do that next Droid meetup. I'll pop over.
August. I'll bring the pizza oven on when we've got R2 UK Droid building. It's no longer R2 building; it's Droid building, and we can make pizzas.
Droid building UK in August, so that should be good. What are you thinking of bringing down for that event, by the way? Just as a completely on the spot question.
We are now in February, and we're talking about in August. So in August, we're bringing the fully fledged DO. I'll probably throw BD1 in for a bit of a laugh. I'll have a track droid that is complete. I'm not sure about drive mechanism, and I'll have a walking BD1. That's what I'll be bringing along to R2 in August.
Fantastic! I'm looking forward to that one.
I'll throw it out
there. So, I think we've got a question from Giles. Have you managed to persuade Catherine about trying droid driving?
Catherine, my wife, she drove the Snowman droid, which actually won the best 39.1% prize at our December meet, to the point where she couldn't drive it at all. She drove it very, very, very badly. I did Facebook Live stuff, and people were accusing her of very intelligent sabotage as opposed to complete chaos. So she's practicing, she's learning. Now I've got to build a droid that's relatively easy to drive. She has drove R2 right the way through the Comic-Con in Belgium, in Ghent, from one end to another, and did it successfully. And also, I think she'll also be driving DO version 2 because it's something that she can practice on. So I think we're getting there, Giles. I think we are getting there.
Well, I had a go of the DO today, and it's a lot of fun to drive. It's really nifty. Like you squeeze it and it just shoots straight off, and then you're drifting around everywhere, and
it's good fun.
It's super fun to drive. Mark, I have not had a drink tonight. I have literally had non-alcoholic coffee. I promise.
You can fit anything in there, Rob.
You can,
and there's a lot of people who actually don't know the story, Rob. So I think we probably need to. And I've got to say, guys, there isn't any answer to this, but we in the UK we have a meet every August where there's a big R2 meet, and hopefully some of you guys can come along to join it. And at the last one, there was allegations that were thrown towards Rob that because somebody was either heard or found evidence of people throwing up after consuming too much alcohol, which generally was whiskey. And I've got to say, Rob took the brunt of that, and we're not entirely convinced whether he's guilty or whether he's innocent at this stage. And Rob's quiet, so I'll assume we'll take that as guilt.
I would happily go on lie detector. Some valuable points to.
Are you okay?
Can you hear my defense?
Yes, I can hear your defense, Rob. Hello.
Hello.
Have you gone quiet? Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We'll take that as guilty then. I think that is definitely 100% guilty. Rob is now blaming technology because of his inability to.
Hello. Can you hear me? Yes.
I was just saying that you're guilty because you've started to blame technology.
Here.
I think we've got technical problems, allegedly. Rob's obviously drinking too much. Can everybody hear me and see Rob? Okay, we lost the feed. It's a not guilty. Everybody's phones froze. Oh, that's interesting. Stamping. Are you there, Rob?
I can sort of hear you.
Sort of hear me in a good way. Can you hear what I'm saying now? Oh no, we're back on. Everything's moving. I'll assume that we're working now. Okay. I think you're out of sync. We can hear you both now.
You're. Oh, there we go. I can hear you a bit better now. Yeah,
so,
there we go. You were.
Rob, I've got a question to ask you now.
Oh, go
Have you got complete control of the internet, and do you have the ability to freeze it when you're asked an awkward question? Because when it came to accusing you of drinking, the internet stopped and everything froze. So I'm a bit worried about powers now.
Well, you see, if what's the best way to answer? If you suddenly go to bed tonight and all of your 3D printers have like died or something, then yes, I've got the power to do that. But
yeah.
No.
I thought so.
No.
So
just to throw out some of the variables of the situation of the last Art of the UK, there was multiple students of the university that were still on the premises.
Yeah.
And as we all know, university students like a good drink.
They do.
We were also sharing that floor with university students, as far as I'm aware. And me and Tad weren't the only ones drinking. So...
yeah. I think the only way we can find out is to see what happens this year.
Absolutely.
But anyway, there's another question, which is 3D technology that we haven't seen yet due to patents. How would you expect the 3D printing landscape to change? Which is quite an interesting one. There is some... most of what we do now in 3D printing, whether it's FDM and recently with SLA, is down to patents. It's not down to the advent of technology. There is PolyJet, and I've said it a few times, there's PolyJet technology, which is just on the cusp now, and I think it's this year and next year that Stratasys, who own a lot of these patents now, they start to become public. What PolyJet is it's exactly what we use on resin printers, but it's in an inkjet technology. So you've got print heads that go back and forth that spray ink out like inkjet technology, and then there's an ultraviolet lamp on the actual inkjet that then sets that resin, and it is phenomenal. And the reason it's phenomenal compared to the SLAs is that you can actually mix your resins. So where you can do full color prints on an inkjet, you can do exactly the same on resin. So you can fill your resin with red, RGB and black, and you can mix that to do full color 3D prints. But you can also mix flexible and hard materials to make semi-flexible materials. So that technology, and it uses inkjet technology, which we've all seen has been, £35 from supermarket or whatever. It's really cheap technology. So I think that's the next thing that will take over everything that we do, because you've got the accuracy of inkjet, you've got the speed of resin, then you've got the ability to mix it. So that's the one that I'm quite excited about, really.
Yeah, that sounds cool. There was one question that I did see. I can't actually scroll back to find who it's from. It was asking about any possible 232 things to go in the 3D R2 unit. Are any of them released or going to be released?
Not at the moment. I did some basic designs. There's a guy called Troy in the group that has done a phenomenal 2 to 3 to 2 unit design. What I think a lot of people don't really fully appreciate is the 2 to 3 to 2 movement is crazily difficult, and your R2 legs are only kind of so wide, and so when it's in 2-leg mode, you've got to make sure it can't it doesn't tip up. So you need wheels either side of it. Whereas in a 3-leg mode, you can get rid of a wheel or whatever. It's got to be maximum stable on 2 legs. You've then got your ankle locking, which is where I'm going to give you a load of problems and then tell you what maybe the solutions are. But you've got ankle legging, which is your feet, and you've got to lock that directly to an ankle. R2 was never built to be amazing in the real physical world, and the builders have got, there's been some really good versions of the 2 to 3 to 2 one. The best one that I've seen has been Troy's, and he's built. I can't remember what the other guy was. There's another guy that threw a load of those forward, and so what I'm doing is hanging on, to be honest, to see what he releases, because I've got some ideas around how we can do ankle locking. The middle leg dropping down and up is easy. That's not too hard. It's more around the shoulders to the feet and then keeping stability. And the reason that I've done 2 or 3 attempts with it and I've never released anything is we're talking about a whole bunch of work that if it falls on its face, we've got some seriously upset people, and the whole group is about creating something that's solid and reliable, not about stretching it to the edge. So I think we'll wait till Troy's comes out. I'm still playing around with the 2 to 3 to 2. But there's nothing that's kind of on the cusp of being released at the moment.
No, that's cool. I mean, like I say, everything that you do in the group, everyone, just reading through some of the posts and some of the comments that people leave, everybody is super appreciative of everything that you do in this group. And like I say, you're kind of like one of the new celebrities of the R2 builders. Let's say, you've come straight in, you do everything for everybody. You never really expect anything back except people to be cool and stuff like that, be nice in the group and whatnot. And I think I'm quite confident that I can speak for everybody in the group when I say thanks for everything that you do. It's a massive help. And I do think with the introduction to 3D printing, it has opened the door for so many more builders to be able to actually do things within the group. Obviously, like you say, you look at aluminium droids and wood droids, even styrene droids, and some people are a bit, I don't have the skills to do that, but some people find a knack for 3D printing. They find it a lot more easier, and obviously, thanks to you, a lot more people are now able to join the group, build droids, go to events and everything. And obviously, there are other people that do 3D models and stuff, but a lot of the stuff that what people are building now is thanks to you. So I'm pretty sure I speak for everyone when I say thanks for that.
No, I really appreciate that, Rob. And that's, from my perspective, that's what I want out of this. It's not, it's not celebrity or all that kind of stuff. It's literally, you've got a group of amazing brains that you connect together and everybody's got to share. So you've got some people that are amazing on Arduinos and program, you've got some people that are amazing design, some people amazing painters. And the very, very best of the internet is where you connect those people together and everybody just openly shares and tells people about it. The worst is where people start to close it down and they do all of that kind of stuff. So the whole point of the group is firstly that, and the secondly is just be nice. I know I've blat it out on there loads of times, but my God, the transparency of social media and how you connect to people gives people the ability to troll, and it gives people the ability to be lovely. And I keep saying I've got no rules. All you got to do is just be nice, and that goes to everybody in the group. It's difficult being an admin because all I want to do is I want to design stuff. I don't want to arbitrate between whether somebody finds something in the group offensive or not offensive. But the more that people generally get the spirit of what the group is, which is, there's a million and one Facebooks out there or Twitter or whatever you want to do where you can just have a rant. If you want to have a rant, you want to have a rant somewhere else. In this group, it's just about being cool, listening, understanding what people need, and helping people out. Because at some point you'll be the one that goes, actually, I'm not quite sure about this. I don't know if I can ask a question. So you just ask it. And I get the other thing I've got to say is I get lots of people that apologise for asking me questions, which is, I know you're really, really busy, but can I, no, you must get a million questions. Don't even give a second thought, throw things across. If I haven't got time, or if there's a bit of a gap in replying, then it may be because I'm busy. But God's sake, don't worry about asking questions. And I would say that within anyone in the group, if you want to do, just post it, throw it out there, and see what comes back, because that's what we're about. And if we can keep that, it makes it easier for everybody, really.
Absolutely, and it's like when you see people that post, not just in this group but in other groups as well, things like "sorry for asking such a stupid question," and the amount of people that jump straight on that and say the only stupid question is the question that you don't bother asking. Everybody's asked stupid questions. Everybody's asked things that might seem daft, or everyone's just had one of those moments where something just pops straight out the head. They can't think of it, and they've got to ask. So the only stupid question is the question that you don't bother ask.
And we've shifted into a world now where there's two things: you can record all the information, everything for your brain for other people to run through, or you can answer the same question 10 times over. And the world that we're in now is where you can ask the same question, and it literally, what's the difference between Mark III and Mark II? One's for a big printer, one's for a small printer. I must have answered that question about 200 times, and every time it's a different person that's asked the question. So every time I answer it that way. The old world used to be read the manual, spend 6 months reading that stuff. When you've done it, come back and ask me a question.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying which world is right, because I know respectfully we've got lots of people that have come from both sides. But where we are now is people just want to ask the question and get a civil answer.
Yeah.
And that's all we got to do. All we got to do is go, no, it's just that. If the question is, it takes 15 paragraphs and it's going to exhaust you doing it, then just don't answer the question. Wait for somebody else to do it. But it's that way you collectively pass the information on in a different manner to the next generation of builders. There's nothing wrong with people wanting to do things faster, better, and with more enthusiasm. I think that was George Lucas's direction in most of the original films, which is more intense. Yeah, exactly. So we're moving into this period, guys. It's faster, it's more intense. Ask the questions, we'll answer them, we'll crack on. Yeah,
absolutely. Just one quick one, Mark. The answer to your question is that's how close we've got so far. We've just got his head. There is a body to go on there at some point when the weather sorts itself out. But yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, so I mean that was pretty much all of my questions. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of grateful people out there who are now happy that they're able to be part of the club. They're able to build R2s, whether they want to take them out to events, they want to just stick them in the corner of the room just to show friends and family, or whether they want to build it, to develop on it, to create new things to then bring back into the group. Whatever it is, you've now given so many more people that option to come in, and especially with the sort of club that we're in. Obviously you have your Patreon, where people can obviously help you out and whatnot, but essentially everything you put up, you just stick up. There's plenty of people that are really good at 3D modeling and could probably model something to the same standard, but they'll sit there and they'll charge people on pay only sites and stuff like that. But that's one of the things that I really like about you, is the fact that you do something and you just sort of give straight away. You don't want to sit there and I'll give you this if you give me that sort of thing. And you're probably one of the best people for the job of doing all the 3D printing stuff, in my opinion anyway.
I've been asked a few times about that, because the Patreon came from people saying, we want to support what you do. At that time, I developed a 3D printing habit that was affecting my relationship. It wasn't really, but you kind of you were hiding Amazon parcels. And I think it was there's one guy, and you are, who suggested, how do we support you on Patreon? I said, oh, it's very easy. I'll sort that out. What the hell is Patreon? But Patreon has always been an honesty box. It's always been for people who want to contribute, want to support. All the designs and everything kind of go into into the open share eventually. And as I said, Jeff Rowe, the guy that did a lot of the Stormtrooper stuff and the early stuff, now he's constantly playing cat and mouse with people to try and protect his files, because people grab the files and stick them away and that sort of stuff. Whereas my view is, well, I don't know why you're trying to sell the stuff that I do, because it's already there available. The other part of it then is how do you reward and give real massive thanks to all the people that do support you, and that's where we get all of the early stuff, which is, if you want to be part of the lunatics that create these things early on and whatever, you get access to the early stuff. So, and I think that's more of a balance. What upsets that balance is people taking the mickey either side, which is either you create stuff and hold it back, which is wrong, or you drop onto Patreon, sign up, grab everything you can do, bugger off, and then not try and expect everything for free. And it's just really sort of getting that balance, I think, between the group, which you just reckon it's no different than people that have invested time in doing part runs and all that sort of stuff in the past.
Yeah, because I mean, at the moment you've got two links, haven't you? You've got your OneDrive and you've got your Patreon. Your OneDrive's where all of the R2 stuff is, and your version 1 of Dio, and then your Patreon is, I think you've got the BD1 and maybe one or two other little bits.
Possibly. Yeah. Dio version 2 is on Patreon at the moment. BD1's on Patreon. There's a load of the Christmassy stuff. There's some 1/6 scale stuff. There's stuff on there that comes through that, but it's just keeping that balance. But I think the essence is just share everything, and it's like the Dio V2, and I'll go back to that balancing sketch that we've got. That it's just so sexy, that is brilliant. But that's just open source. That's gone. I'll stick it out there. People can play with it. All of the Fusion files, I'll stick them out there. People can play with it. All of the designs and everything is there for people to add their bits onto it and just continue to evolve. And that's effectively what the whole spirit of the Builders Club was built on. So we just need to continue to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that's pretty much it.
Thank you.
Any last minute questions anywhere? I can't see any.
No.
Are people happy with the interview? But I think everyone else was pretty much just joining me and saying thanks for everything that you do. You're a fantastic person to have in the group. You're an absolute credit to the club. And like you say, you've helped so many more people take that step into the club who otherwise would have probably just sat on the sidelines, not confident enough to do anything. So, top guy. Thanks very much.
No, Rob, thank you, and thank you for doing the interview. It all quick, mad, and not all kind of last minutes, but overall it's been brilliant fun, really, really good. Absolutely. So as always, we'll stick this up on the group so that it's people can watch it who've missed it. I'll also pop it onto YouTube, and then people have got access to it. And a huge thanks to Rob for sitting in the seat and doing that. What we got coming up, we've got so I'll be throwing out I've got to put Dio version 2 into some sort of semblance of order, and he will move from the magical whip folder, which is work in progress, into the Patreon early shares, in which case it'll all be structured and hopefully the files be easy to print. I've got to do the most boring bit, which is writing all the instructions so that people can build these things. We have got some new formats on instructions and new ways of approaching things, which I know you're doing some little bit of work for us, Rob, which is very cool on parts listings and things like that. So there's quite a lot of stuff that's coming out there. Interviews in the shed, we've got some really cool ones coming up, very much focused on, I guess, building and extreme builders. So in the next couple of weeks or so, we've got some more that's coming up there. And then events wise, R2 UK or Droid Builders UK we've got in August. You can come and see Rob and validate whether he throws up after whiskey. We've got Celebration coming up in after that in August. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. So it's quite an exciting, interesting place to be. So
I'm either going to have like 30 people crammed outside my bedroom when we turn up at this accommodation, or I'm going to sleep on my bloody car. Like,
listen, you've got a reputation to upkeep now. People will be buying you drinks at the next one, Rob. It'll be fine. Right, guys. Anyway, we're going over time, but thank you very much, and take care, and see you all soon.